Hello viewers, welcome to the series on convolutional neural network. In this session we are going to discuss about dense layers in neural network. So without wasting much of our precious time, let's dive into the hands-on session of the same. So now that we have loaded our dataset, we are ready to create a neural network and add the first densely connected layer to it. Starting on line number 19, we are ready to add the code to create a neural network. So the simplest type of neural network has an input node, a densely connected layer, and then an output layer or node. So let's start by creating that. Firstly, we need to create a new neural network object in Keras. To do that, we have created the new sequential object on line number 19. The sequential API lets us to create a neural network by adding new layers to it one at a time. It's called sequential because you add each layer in sequence and they automatically get connected together in that order. To add a new layer, we just need to call model.add. So, and then we have passed the type of layer that we want to add. Since the agenda of this video is dense layer, so that's the purpose right here we are using. So we have created a dense layer object on line number 20. This layer class takes a few parameters. Firstly, we need to tell it how many nodes to include in that layer. We have added 512 nodes to this layer. Next, we need to tell it what kind of activation function we want to use for this layer. So for a normal layer like this, a common choice is to use a rectified linear unit or ReLU activation function. It's because the standard choice when working with images because it works well and is computationally efficient. And since this is the first layer in the neural network, we need to tell it the size of the input layer. All the images in our dataset are 32 pixels by 32 pixels and have a RGB channel. So for the input size, we will use 32 by 32 by 3 pixels, right? So we have passed the same, and after that, later we have to add the output layer. We will need one node in the output layer for each kind of object we want to detect. Anyhow, the CFAR10 dataset has 10 different kinds of objects. Since we are detecting 10 different kinds of objects, we will create a new dense layer with 10 nodes. So to do that, we will call model.add again and we will create a new dense objects and we know it needs 10 nodes. So when doing classification with more than one type of object, the output layer will almost always use a softmax activation function. So the softmax activation function is a special function that makes sure all the output values from this layer adds up to exactly 1. The idea is that each output is a value that represents the percentage likelihood that a certain type of object was detected. And all 10 values should add up to 100% or 1. So we that's the reason we have added the word softmax. When we are building a neural network and adding layers to it, it's helpful to print out the list of the layers in the neural networks that we have built. So on line number 24, we are doing the same by calling the model.summary. Okay, so let's just run the code and see how it behaves. Yep, so you can see that model has been built successfully, and here you can see what layers are there as a summary, right? I hope this video proved fruitful to you and hope you have gained something extra than what you were knowing earlier. Thank you.